Hello everybody, my name is Axel, here again with another comic story, and apologies for taking it so long. So now get ready to listen to the story of the Minecraft Warrior Boys, offering deals and training. Let's begin. Previously in the world of Minecraft, kaboom! After the boy breaks out the prisoners from jail, now that's what I call a jailbreak. He takes them to eat at a restaurant. And he ordered and bought lots of food for them. Here, look, here's the food. The first boy said to him, "That was a powerful move you just did back there." The second boy agreed and said, "Yeah, how were you able to do that?" Then the third boy asks the boy, "Who are you, by the way?" So the boy explains to them, "Who am I, you ask? Well, the truth is, I have a name, but you can just call me," and he said his name, the King of Blue Stars. The fourth boy was impressed. "That's an awesome name." The fifth boy agreed and said, "Yeah, and that would explain all those incredible superpowers you have." But the last boy had a question. "So why did you decide to come break us out of prison?" So the king of Blue Stars explains everything to them. "Because I heard about all the crimes you boys have been causing, so I decided to break you boys out and help you get revenge on those FBI agents who locked you all up. For example," then he asks the first boy, "Jeffrey Charles, your mother abandoned you and your father, so you started killing 3 kids and an old man, and you know what happened next?" But Jeffrey Charles says, "What do you mean by that?" The king continues it for him. "The police have caught you trying to kill Tracy Bell, and when you were in jail, you heard on the news that your dad died in a car accident. How does that make you feel?" And Jeffrey answers, "Very ashamed, I guess." Then the king asks the second boy, "Danny Murphy, the police were making your parents tell the truth about who really killed your brother, but your parents just wanted to protect you. And when the police found out it was you, they had to arrest you. And while you were in jail, in prison, you heard on the news that someone shot both of your parents." Danny felt a bit sad and said, "I didn't mean to hurt my brother." The king tells the third boy, "Puella Remeni, you were almost going to be a man, and that's why you helped your parents kill other families and kidnap their daughters to see which one will be your bride. But the police have caught you, and when you were in prison, both of your parents were very sick and they died." Puella was very sad and said, "I loved my parents so much." The king says to the fourth boy, "Jeremy Sayer, when your father passed away, your mom had no love for you, so she kicked you out of your house, and you felt very mad. You started killing other families, and that day the police have caught you trying to kill your own sister, so they arrested you." Jeremy was very upset and said, "I never want to see my mom or my sister ever again." The king says to the fifth boy, "Jacob Wallace, you caused the crime of tying up your mom and your aunt to a tree and killing them. And when you were about to kill your own sister, the police stopped you and they arrested you. While you were in prison, there was a fire at your house, and both of your dad and your sister died in there." Jacob was very upset too and said, "What have I become?" And the king asks the last boy, "Tyler Menwarning, your foster family had no love for you, and when you got out of school, you met a guy named Gary who was a criminal. But then the police arrested him until they found out you had his gun. So the police made you give them the gun, and never made you live with your foster family anymore." Tyler was worried and said, "What is wrong with me?" The king explains one last announcement to the boys. "So now you boys know. I understand how you all feel, and it's all because of those FBI agents that took everything away from all of you. And now they're gonna pay. They're already celebrating parties while you guys were in prison. Well, I say it's time for them to lose and for us to win. They may be strong, tough, smart, intelligent, and brave when they arrest every criminal they find, but they never arrested a criminal with..." Then he summons his powers and said, "Superpowers." And he continues his announcement, "This is our time to stand up for ourselves and never letting nobody tell us what to do anymore, because they're not the bosses of us. So who will join me? Who wants to team up with me? Who wants to be a winner?" The king lifts up his hand and said, "And who wants to have their revenge?" And all the boys cheered, "Yeah!" The king put his hand in and said, "So what do you boys say, team?" Then the boys started thinking a lot, and they didn't have any other choice. So they all put their hands in. Then the king said, "All right then, let's get you boys into shape." They were inside the car and they drove to an abandoned garage. When they were inside, the king pulled a lever. Then the walls opened up and inside was an elevator. The king says to the boys, "Hold on tight. Hold on tight to the poles, boys, because we're going for a ride." Then he pushed a button and it made the elevator go down really fast. The boys started screaming except the king. Ah! When they made it to the bottom, the boys froze with fear, and the king said to them, "Boys, welcome to my bunker." All the boys said together, "Whoa!" In the bunker, there was a lot of things: a gym, an arcade, and a movie theater. See for yourselves. The king then said, You're in luck, boys, because my bunker is your bunker." Jeffrey said, "This is awesome." Jane agreed and said, "I'll say, this is incredible." Puela asks the king, "So you did all this yourself?" Jeremy figured out something. Now I understand why you're called the king, because you live in a bunker." Jacob added, "Yeah, and with all this cool stuff too." Tyler asks, "So when do we start training?" The king explained to them, "Well, we're going to start with some training today, and tomorrow we'll do more. We'll start with some punches and kicks first. You boys ready?" And the boys said together, "Yes." So the king said, "All right, let's get started with some music." Then he pushed a button from a beatbox, and a song from Europe was playing called "It's the Final Countdown." When the boys were in the gym, the king said, "Listen up, boys. If you want to become like fighters, you have to train for it so you can be more prepared to do anything you want." So then the king starts counting. "Now let's start off with some punches. Do everything I do. In 3, 2, 1, go." And the boys started training and practicing a lot with the king. Hee-yah! The king said to them, "With all this training, you boys will become like strong men." Then he counts again. "Now let's do some kicks. In 3, 2, 1, go." And all the boys did a kick together and said, "Hee-yah!" 2 weeks later, the boys were practicing a lot and were sparring with each other. Hee-yah, hee-yah, hee-yah. Until they heard the king said, "All right, boys, that's enough for today. Great job." Then he was going to reward them. "And as a reward, I bought you boys new clothes." So the king gives each of the boys a suitcase with their names. The boys went to the shower room and they were changing in the fitting rooms. First, they put on their shirts, then they put on their pants and belts, their socks and shoes, they brushed their hair, put on their jackets, and their hats. When the boys finished changing, they got out of the fitting room and had new looks. See for yourself. The king said to them, "Liking the new looks, boys? Not bad." Then he rewards them with other prizes. "Now I have another reward for you boys. Each of you will be training with your own weapons." So the king gives each of the boys presents with their names on them. When the boys opened their presents, Jeffrey got a bat with nails on it. Danny got a drill tool with a sharp spinner. Puile got a big Viking axe. Jeremy got a pet bear trap snake. Jacob got a grenade sash, and Tyler got a pair of boxing gloves with spikes on them. See up here. The king explains to the boys how to use their weapons. "Listen up, boys. You all will be practicing and training every night and day until you all know how to use your weapons correctly and how to use them for battling enemies." 4 weeks later, the king said to the boys, "All right, boys, now you're all going to begin practicing with the dummies for battle." Then he pushed a button from control, and it made a big gate door open up from the wall. Then a group of dummy stands that looked like the FBI agents came out. for yourself. The king said to the boys, "Now, I'm gonna start calling you guys one by one. When you hear your name, each of you will attack a dummy. Let's start. Jeffrey, you go first." So Jeffrey grabbed his bat with 2 hands, and he hits one of the dummies really hard with it. Hey-ya! The king said, "Good job, Jeffrey. All right, Danny, your turn." Danny turns on the drill tool, and he raises it to another dummy. Ha! The king said, "Nice. Your turn, Puyele." Puyele raises his axe and chopped off another dummy. Rah! The king said, "Excellent. Jeremy, your turn." Jeremy holds his pet bear trap snake and made it attack another dummy. Sick 'em, boy. The king said, "Fantastic. Your turn, Jacob." Jacob grabbed a grenade and took out the pin. And when he threw it to another dummy, it started to explode. Hi-ya, and boom. The king said, "All right, Tyler, you're the last one. Go." Tyler raises his boxing gloves, and he punched the last dummy. Ha, ha, ha. Look at this. When all the boys finished, the king congratulates them. "Congratulations, boys. You all have passed and become like true fighters. Now let's get some rest and get ready for tomorrow because we're going to pay a little visit to the F.B.I agents. Oh, and by the way, I've given us all cool nicknames." He first says to Jeffrey, "Jeffrey, you should be called Bat Hitter." Then said to Danny, "Danny, you're Drill Spinner." Then to Puyele, "Puyele, you're Axe Chopper." Then at Jeremy, "Jeremy, you're called Bear Trapper and your pet's name is Chainster." And at Jacob, "Jacob, you're Grenade Blower." And finally to Tyler, "And Tyler, you're Spiky Puncher." The king announces the boys their group name. Together we're the Wanted Scavenger Boys. To be continued. Okay, everyone. Thanks for watching, and now stay tuned for the next episode. Okay, bye.